Hey everybody, that guy over there. I'm gonna bring you a quick video. Please forgive my voice, but I'm here to pose a question, and I hope I might do these more as time goes by. But I was just gonna post this a question of WYSIWYG. So WYSIWYG, for those of you who don't know, is what you see is what you get, and there's a lot. Most tournaments, I'm gonna say, require that models be WYSIWYG. So obviously your Space Marine with a bolter can't just be a melt-a-gun guy. He actually has to have a melt-a-gun. Kind of like your Predator actually has to have side sponsons or whatever the case may be. Now, my entire Warhammer, I'm going to say career, I've dealt with arguments that my army is not WYSIWYG. This is even when I was just a young kid playing at my first game shop, trying to bring my models to a tournament. They said, your Tervigons aren't WYSIWYG. I said, what do you mean? And they said, you took Toxin Sacs, which at the time gave them +1 strength. Can you imagine strength 4 Gons? Anyway, they said you didn't glue the Toxin Sacs on. And I was like, well, they look like, testicles. I didn't want to put them on there. And they said, well, they're not WYSIWYG. So I'd always kind of made the argument that any sort of glands or anything like that would be internal, so you would never see them. Plus, those biomorphs, they don't carry over well. While it makes sense for a Space Marine to have the gun that he's supposed to be using, it's kind of hard to say all of your gargoyles have to have toxin sacs and adrenal glands, because the body just isn't that big, and it just ends up looking weird when they have all these growths sticking out of them. So anyway, fast forward to the future. The people I play against now, I haven't heard that in a long time. And by the way, that was the store that told me that my Lictor's deep striking on the wall of a building made the mishap, because at the time Lictors had to deep strike into terrain, and so I'd deep strike in. If I hit a wall, that was ruled impassable, even though we could move through it, and so then my guys would mishap. So anyway, I guess that's why I come through. That's my background with it. So I say all that to say that I've got here, these are the models that I've had since most of them 2008. 2008 to 2012 is when I really bought the majority of my Tyranids. As you can see, there's quite a bit. So yeah, so you can kind of imagine. So back in 2008, when the Codex came out, there were no Tyrannofexes. So I actually commissioned these through Blue Table Painting, and I wanted 3 Tyrannofexes with strength 10 guns, the rupture cannon, which arguably this could be the torrent as well, the heavy. I can't remember what it's called. But they converted these for me, and they're beautiful. They're on the right base. I'm not sure if they're tall enough, and that kind of argues the question. If I go to a competitive event, like imagine I'm going to Nova or something, I probably won't. But would they allow this as WYSIWYG? Would you allow it as WYSIWYG? If you came up against it, would you have any problems with the way that my models were done? Because this is a time when there was no Tyrannofex model. So, and I don't have a size comparison between them. I know his head is up higher, so then people might say I'm arguing or modeling for advantage because I'm higher up. I can see over things that I normally wouldn't have. But yeah, those are my Tyrannofexes. Or my Exocrines. They also could stand in as Exocrines. So if I brought this as an Exocrine, would there be a problem with it? Anyway, just some considerations. My next model, these are what my what are these called? Tervigons. What my Tervigons look like. Again, this is a time when there's no Tervigon model. So I asked Blue Table to convert these, and they did an awesome job. Like they bulked out a Carnifex Carapace. they, with the scything talons, and it fills the base. It's just not tall enough because their backs are like real big and hunched. So I really, really like the model, and they did well for me for a long time. But now in the current edition of 40K, these guys used to be huge when I was playing with them. It was like, holy cow, they're so much bigger than a Dreadnought. Now they look tiny, especially compared to what Tervigons are actually supposed to be. So would there be a problem with this one? So yeah, there's that one. Next, I have my flying Hive Tyrant. So with the flying Hive Tyrants now, with the new kits, they have like jumping legs, and their tail is what holds them on the base, and they're much higher up. So would anybody argue, because I have 4 Hive Tyrants, and I'm thinking about pulling their arms off and converting them into... 3 of them could be magnetized. The 4th one I'd have to pull off his Swarmlord arms to make him a flying Hive Tyrant. But would anybody have a problem with these? Now, granted, these are fine cast. These models didn't come with the jumpy legs. And the wings, these might actually be the... Where'd those wings go? They might actually be the flying... Because I just bought these. I commissioned them when it went from metal to plastic. So I'm not sure what these wings came from, actually. Because I commissioned them, bought the models, and then it was like there was a bunch of Tyranid releases that came out. This is right at the beginning of 2012, end of 2013, or 2011. So would anybody have a problem with these guys using the flying legs, saying that I'm modeling for advantage? Because a lot of times, for ease of play, I'll just take the wings off because they're magnetized. So now my flying guy is just this. So he's pretty teeny. So would that be considered modeling for advantage? I don't know. But that's the models I have. Next I have, these were my Spore pods back when they first came out, because there was no model. So I have considered kind of putting a pin on the bottom and putting them on a base and have them float up maybe that high off the ground. And they actually look a lot like the Spore pods if I did that. But do you think anybody would argue against me using these as Spore pods? Because I have 8 of them. I'd love to be able to use them as Tyrannocytes. Yeah. So, oops, there's little spikes coming off. But Blue Table also cast these out of modeling, I think, clay. I think they made them out of clay, and they had molds. So, but anyway, they look really great, I'd love to be able to use them, especially because I have 8 of them. So who knows? And do I have to make that conversion to use it? Because as you can see, they're not very big. Then my last one, this was also, so my first 2 Spore Tyranus, well, okay, they were my Cetic Spores when I got them. Now they're Tyrannocytes, but the first 2 I got looked like this. Okay, and then they switched their molds to making these when I ordered the second group. So I have 2 of these, and I'd love to use these as a Sporocyte. But do you think anybody's, because these 2 are not GW models, there are bits like these little spiky things are little Tyranid bits, but they're not, essentially they're made out of clay. But these are the models that I own and have. So anyway, we'll say number 1, Tyrannofex, number 2, Tervigon, number 3, Hive Tyrant, number 4, Tyrannocyte, number 5, Sporocyte. Would you consider these WYSIWYG? You can vote, yes or no for each one independently. I'd love to hear your opinions, maybe what your opinions on WYSIWYG are. What's a conversion, what's a proxy, what's a kit bash, what's not allowed at tournament. So thank you for your time. I'll do some more Tyranid videos to come, because right now I got on my plate Tyranids, Blood Angels, and Lizardmen. So anyway, thank you for your time. I'll be posting up shortly.